Let's just be
It's
real.
not the color of the hair on your head that matters. It's the color of the hair on your heart.
You're listening to a hockey podcast where we talk about ice hockey and stuff. Yeah.
With Chanel, Molly, and Jesse. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this hockey pod. It's 2023.
Whoop, whoop, woo.
Woo woo! And with the new year, we thought, what better time to do a soft reboot? And what we mean by that is we might be changing things up a little bit over here, maybe perhaps being a little more consistent in our posting and podcast videos. And of course, we are officially adding Jesse to the podcast. Woo! Say hi, Jesse.
Hello.
Yeah.
I've
gonna add
already
a
been
lot.
joining in on and off as we've been going along, right? So it just made sense for us to just keep doing this all together.
Exactly.
We need our stat man.
Yeah,
I
he's
enjoy
like our stat
talking
guy.
hockey with you two.
Mm-hmm.
Aww.
Aw, so sweet. we needed someone to reel us in because Molly and I are a little bit unhinged. So
I don't know if I have enough reach to reel you both in.
I mean, at least one person can be hinged.
Gonna try and reel Molly in, and I'll turn around, and Chanel's already off on whatever.
yeah.
Leafs.
Yeah, so we're really excited to have you, Jesse. And although Jesse is still gonna stay almost pretty much anonymous, he doesn't have any sort of social media platform, or he definitely won't share his images with you. But that's okay. He's gonna be our fun little background commentator.
I'm not big on social media and stuff like that, but
That's
I still
okay.
enjoy talking hockey with people. So I mean, at a certain point, there's only so much people around you can talk really specific stuff about with. So
Yeah, it's true.
as far as I know, Molly's in real. She's just a person with a voice.
She's a horse. She's a horse.
She's a horse.
In a
Yes, she's a
trench
horse with a
coat.
voice.
That
horses
is
on top
for
of each
the
other in a trench
OGs.
coat.
No, exactly. That is for the OG listeners. Yeah. Yeah, so welcome to the team, Jesse. We're excited to have you, and I'm sure everyone will love you.
Oh boy, don't make any promises.
Also, I will add that we have 309 subscribers, so that's great. If you can get the word out to your friends that we're not a bad hockey pod. This hockey pod is quite fun and chaotic. So if you're into that after you go watch your, statistical video and you just want to talk shit, then come here.
I think we're good enough to at least be worthy of 400 subscribers, right?
Oh, for sure. What better to start off the new year and with a brand new person to just kind of do I get to know us.
Yeah.
Get to know us. This is where we're going to throw in like an extra song for you guys.
Oh god, pressure.
No.
Q&A. It's
Get
a
to
hockey
know
pod
us.
Q&A.
Oh, that's nice. That's
Thank
good.
you.
I guess we can just go around in a circle and introduce ourselves again to the world. How about we start with you, Molly?
Yes. Hello, I'm Molly. I am a human, honest. I live in France, and I'm a Colorado Avalanche fan. Oh, is there anything else I need to say?
No.
No, I don't know. You're a pretty one-dimensional person. I think that covers it, right?
Wow, I think I'm actually 2D. I just can't turn around.
Yeah, I guess that's the basics. Jesse, who are you?
I'm Jesse. I'm basically part of this trio of friends that we've already been talking hockey in between since they've started the podcast, and I've jumped on a few times, so we figured might as well include me full time. So we're looking forward to doing this more often together. I am a Leafs fan, but I would say I'm probably more of those negative, pessimistic Leafs fans who thinks things are always going to go wrong, no matter how well they're going. And to be fair, it's hard to not feel that way when things always go wrong anyways, so it kind of reinforces that negative feeling that you get in your stomach. But I mean, I still want to see them win at one point, so But since the Leafs can't succeed, I like also just checking out the rest of the league the whole time. I like watching all the teams, and depending on what's going on, I'll be fascinated in different teams at different times.
Nice. Statman.
And me, I'm Chanel. A lot of you know me from Twitter. That's where I got my hockey start, I guess you would say. I needed people to talk to about hockey because I could just not hold it in anymore. I'm a Leafs fan, but I'm the polar opposite of Jesse. I'm unabashedly positive about these Leafs. So eventually they're gonna get somewhere. Come on now. This year's our year. Take a shot. Take a shot if you've heard that one before.
Every time you've said that, yeah.
This is our year. Woohoo. Oh, these Leafs look
This will be the
different.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the regular season, they're so good this time.
But come on, look at them. They're different. Yeah, that's
What does it
me.
mean? Different shade of blue.
Yeah.
Although we are fans of these, like the Avs and Leafs and whatnot, we're not afraid to criticize them, talk shit about them, complain about them.
No,
No.
I just love my Leafs, so what can I say? So that's pretty much it for like the basic stuff. You don't really need to know much about our personal lives. I mean, we could do a Q&A in the future. Maybe you're curious to know what our favorite color is. I don't know, like periwinkle, by the way. Um
I will never
let's
tell.
just black.
Maybe, maybe not.
It is. It's black. I don't know Molly's favorite color though.
Mustard.
I love it. Love it.
Really
Okay.
impressive.
Why are
Ooh.
all three of our answers very non-conventional? Like that's just who we
Um,
are, huh?
Maybe it's because I'm a secret Bruins fan. I don't know.
Ooh, okay, take that back.
Ew. I'm sorry. That just made me feel
Ew.
gross. My skin just kind of went. "Ugh."
All right, so this is a new soft launch, Jesse and Chanel's podcast. Molly will no longer be with us after this episode.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.
Do I need to put on a different accent and pretend I'm someone else now?
Yes, you can only speak in French now.
Ah, merde. On continue.
Yeah, so we're just gonna get right to the Q&A section. I did ask you guys on this Hockey Pod's Twitter account to ask us questions. So I actually did get a decent amount of questions. We did, and I'm gonna go through them, and we're just gonna answer them. Yeah,
Yes.
Sounds good.
Let's
perfect.
go.
Let's go. All right. So the first question is, when was your first exposure to hockey?
Wow,
Molly,
this is a good
you go first.
question.
You go first because I'm interested in hearing this again.
Hearing this again, oh my god, you know me inside out. Um,
To be fair, I forgot, so I'll listen to it again.
thank you, Jesse. Well, where I grew up, we didn't have ice hockey. It's not a notable country for ice hockey. So I didn't actually really like get into it until university because I did that. I went to university and I was a really bad insomniac, and so I would stay up late writing whatever I was writing, and I need stuff in the background, and there was no sports on apart from ice hockey, so I started watching ice hockey. So that's how I was first exposed as insomniac NHL games.
I kind of love that.
Did you have like a friend that like turned you on to it or like pushed you in that direction, or you just kind of stumbled upon it yourself?
Not no friends. No. Um, I kind of stumbled onto myself because I used to watch American football, and then I can't. Well, American football and hockey seasons, they kind of like don't line up
Mm-hmm.
100%. So when football season finished, I was like, what to watch? And hockey was my answer. I did start off watching like the KHL for like the earlier games late at night because I wasn't awake at like 3 a.m. to watch game starts and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where it started, is insomniac writing politics essays. How about you guys? I mean, might be a bit more conventional because Canada.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah. Exposure to hockey for us, I think it's a bit hard to define first exposure to hockey because
Yeah,
I feel like it's just
it
you're
was.
Right, you're born surrounded by it.
You were born
That's
in the rink.
no,
Basically.
literally. I honestly couldn't think of an
You get
answer
a hockey
because
stick by default when you're born. You just it's up to you to choose if you want to keep it or not, you know?
Yes, the Canadian government, they give you a box with like what, a lacrosse stick, a hockey stick, a pair of ice skates, and a toque,
yeah,
Yep.
and a Timmy's
pick your
voucher.
poison. And it's Timmy's voucher. That's pretty accurate. How did you Are you sure you weren't born in Canada? Who told you this? This is a secret.
It's a customary dowry for a mother when she gets her first child, you know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You
You're gonna
get
have to
a
speak to my
instead of a
lawyer.
trunk, it comes in a just like a hockey bag.
It's in a 2-4.
It's okay, okay. Oh my gosh, that's good. Yeah, I don't know. Could you really say anything, Jess? Or
I mean, I know personally for me where my background mostly comes from.
hmm
Because like I do like obviously I can't remember the first time I've ever heard the word hockey and like oh what's that? But I mean
yeah.
like generally speaking, I was mostly exposed to hockey through my grandmother because her growing up, her and most of her family really were really into hockey. She grew up during the original six era, so she was a and basically my almost my entire family except for me are Habs fans. Funnily enough, because I grew up French Canadian, so
Look out.
unsurprising. So yeah, weird that I leaned to Toronto eventually, but I did grow up on hearing stories of the Maurice Richard era and Guy Lafleur era. I think Guy Lafleur was her favorite hockey player. So that was most of my exposure was really to that sort of like old school original six era hockey. More like stories of that, like really like stories of the past and stuff like that. And obviously, you still have friends and family who watch hockey in the present, despite that. But I was always more fascinated with hockey history until I eventually gravitated towards the Leafs and started watching them at some point in my youth.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess kind of similar for me is my family obviously watched hockey. So it was mainly my dad and my uncle. They were brothers, and their dad, my grandpa. Wait, I just said that. I meant my dad, my grandpa, and my uncle. There you go, father and sons. Okay. Now each of them loved a different team. My grandpa loved the Boston Bruins. I'm like, where were you from? Okay, this ça fait pas de sens. Doesn't make any sense. So we've got a Boston Bruins fan, and then my uncle was a diehard Habs fan, and then my dad was a Toronto Maple Leafs. And I always looked up to my dad when I was young. So you know what? Leafs are my favorite team, and he probably regrets that now because I just have a lifetime of sadness.
That's such a funny trio, though, right? Like being
It
in the family
is.
with, because like all these teams and fandoms hate each other.
Oh my gosh, it was so weird. And I would often go to my grandpa's and hang out, and he was the best. And we watched hockey, especially when it was Boston versus the Leafs, and he had his puck. He had a puck on top of the TV that was signed and encased. But I do not know who it was, and I really want to know. And I think I asked my dad, and I'm not sure he knew either. But it was a Boston. It was a Boston player, obviously, because that's his team. Um, Anyways, I used to fall asleep to the commentator commenting on the games, and I don't know. I grew an affinity for it. I always ask questions too. Like I was probably really annoying. Every time I saw hockey, I'm like, "What's offside? Explain it to me right now." You know, like I needed to know everything from a young age. I was obsessed with hockey right off the bat. I don't understand, but
I love that.
yeah. Yeah, I'm all emotional now because I'm like, because it's good. So, yes, it's getting a little grim, but my grandpa and my uncle, unfortunately, have both passed away, and it was within 1 year of each other. And so I have like a little bit of a soft spot for both Boston and the Habs, which is quite weird for a Leafs fan. But the reason is because I can have a little bit of my grandpa and my uncle with me all the time when I watch their games. So it's cute.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same
Shouldn't-
way with my family just because like, everybody's almost a Habs fan essentially. So although there's always been that sort of rivalry and hostility, I don't feel as strongly about it, maybe as I know
Yeah.
some fans do.
Yeah.
I think too, the more you get exposed to the rest of the NHL, the although you will still find teams to dislike or players to dislike, most of the time you start softening up to other teams and other players in general because you realize that, like, the teams are the teams, and you always have your favorites, but you can learn to like other teams over time, even if they are rivals or other players. And oftentimes the cast changes eventually, and next thing players you hated are on your team.
I guess we can move on to the second one. How did you come to love your team, Molly? Like, I'm curious. Why Colorado? What happened there?
That's a really good question. The more I think about it, like,
Tell us the honest truth too. Was it something silly? Or
really stupid. You know it's really stupid. I'm sure you remember why. So obviously I was a follower of the European hockey. I couldn't really get into the KHL too much, so I watched Swedish Hockey League games, and they have the best hair.
I knew you were gonna say hair. I knew it. I know you too well.
And so when I started watching like NHL games, I'd just be like looking at these games, and be like, nah. It's just Swedish hockey just hits different because they're all beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Yeah, it's true.
so like looking at the most Swedish team at the time was headed by this beautiful golden blonde captain. you know,
Land is God.
Colorado Avalanche. Yeah, exactly. So, 1 + 1 equals I'm a Colorado Avalanche fan. I think at the time, when was it? I can't remember what year it was, but he had the most beautiful hair in the league at the time. So I think he still does. And I will be prepared to fight you, you being people who disagree with me, on that topic of who has the best hair. And well, from then on, I actually realized that I actually find the team really charismatic. The social media is always on point. So I kind of felt like I was part of the community, even though I lived in the UK at the time. So yeah,
Maybe one day
thanks,
we could do a
Sabs.
debate episode with who has the best
I
hair.
was gonna say that. Yeah.
We'll plug in the names of everybody recommended with the best hair. We do it bracket style or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will not accept Austin Matthews as a
I
nomination.
Yeah, I gotta say that. Well,
no one
because
said that. No one said that.
we got to do the difference too between just like head hair and facial hair. I feel like we could have a whole other
Oh,
debate for like best
Ooh.
facial hair and then best regular hair, right?
and then just
like,
hair overall category.
oh, do we do one for body hair?
The body hair.
Who's got the best chest hair?
Who is
Oh
the
my
hairiest boy in
God.
the league?
Who's the baldest now?
Oh, true.
Ooh.
Actually, yeah, we could have a special section for the chrome domes.
Oh my god, stop.
Guys,
got
it's
the
a new
brightest-
podcast.
Brightest noggin.
Oh my.
We don't actually talk hockey, we just berate the players. Oh wait, that's what we do anyway.
There's too much hockey talk. We're switching it up, huh?
Yeah, let's just shit on everyone. Let's do that. Nice.
Yeah.
So you
In a
guys are
friendly
both
manner,
Leaf
of course.
fans.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're a little bit more normal than hair.
Well, it's kind of odd that Jesse picked Toronto Maple Leafs now talking about it because of his family. So how did you pick the Leafs? What was it for you?
I mean, my parents always called me a contrarian, but so maybe it's just that. But
I
but
can,
I know
I can
I
attest
think
to that.
I want to say I think it was an influence more from friends, because I think most of the friends that I interacted with at school, like there was still a lot of Habs fan at schools, but I think most of the kids I interacted with were Leafs fans, and I think
That's interesting.
it made me lean towards the Leafs initially, right? Because you're talking hockey with your friends, so you mostly talk about the same teams. And my first real exposure where obviously I was, like I said, I was always exposed to hockey, but the first time that I really started getting into it was in 2004, I believe. I was starting to get old enough to kind of get more into it and understand it more, and just start deciding to take the initiative to watch hockey on TV, because my parents didn't really do that, but I did during the 2004 playoffs for Toronto, which funnily enough picked a wrong time to start being a fan. It's the last time the Leafs made the playoffs, or last time they made it to the second round, funnily enough. And I was watching the team during that playoff run, and at some point while I was watching the games, my dad was out doing whatever supply run or something like that.
and he decided like he saw like a Leaf jersey, like not a real one necessarily, but one of those cheap ones that you can get at a
Aw.
store that looks the part, and he bought it for me. So like in the middle of the game, he comes back from the groceries and he just drops off a jersey on in front of me while I was watching the game, and that was really cool. So I was like, oh sweet, and and then I put it on obviously and watched the games, and then from then on out I've been basically following the Leafs pretty regularly.
So cute because he's a Habs fan and he was like, you know what, my son's a Leafs fan. I'm gonna get him a jersey. Yeah. For me, like, although Jesse's like he really got into it deep. He was more interested in the history, and I know your favorite player is Matt Sundin, right?
Yeah, like growing up in the time that I started watching, yeah, I was definitely a Sundin fan, right?
Yeah. So for me though, it varied. It varied a lot. I loved the Leafs, and I remember talking about the Leafs on and off for years and years and years. So I don't know why my stories are always so sad, but I love the Leafs because so my mom and dad are not together. So I would often visit him in his hometown, maybe every other weekend. And one of the activities that I loved doing with him was watching hockey. And of course, you get to like the team you're watching because, again, my dad watched the Leafs, and we would put a mattress out on the floor and watch the Leafs. I'd ask my questions, and then I don't know, a few years went by, and my interests kind of changed. So I stopped looking at hockey, and then it came back to hockey, and I was obsessed again. And then, unfortunately, I had a really bad ex-boyfriend who did not allow me to watch men playing hockey, so I had to stop watching hockey for a little bit. And then eventually, when I met the most wonderful human in the world, I was able to watch hockey again, and not only that, but share a common team. We both love the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we get to talk about them all the time. So, yeah. That's why I like the Leafs because, again, exposure. That's just all it is, really.
Yeah, especially like in Canada where you grew up, you're almost like guaranteed to end up cheering for one of the Canadian teams, especially the ones that are around you, right? Like
Mhm.
whichever ones are closest. Obviously, if you're in Western Canada, you're probably gonna end up being Canucks, Edmonton, Calgary, whatever, and in the West, you're usually leaning more towards like Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, and then I guess Manitoba's got Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Yeah, and since we're talking, we also mentioned like maybe a player on the team that like enticed us. I'm obviously a goalie girl, and for me, it was James Reimer. So James Reimer, it was my guy, of course. But oddly enough, I liked you know Luongo was my favorite hockey player, so that's interesting. Anyways, we'll talk about that later. There you go. Now the next question is actually pretty interesting, and probably more for Molly and I.
Oh
Uh,
goodness, yeah.
yeah, but what made you start the podcast? I will let you take that one, Molly.
I think I approached you, didn't I?
You did. You did.
Yeah. I wanted a podcast.
I was like, you know what? I never even asked you. We just kind of, it just
Uh,
happens. But what was your process?
well, I'm a millennial and I want to be a true millennial, and every true millennial has a podcast. No. Um no, I needed an excuse to talk hockey because obviously being in Europe, it's very difficult to find people who even know what the NHL is, let alone watch it or even support it. So, and it's just a nice excuse to talk to Chanel regularly. But yeah, I think I just messaged you like, "Hey, do you want to start a podcast?" I remember we would like talking about it like back when I was in Canada still. Um, but then
Yeah.
like leaving Canada, it kind of like didn't happen, did it?
No. I was quite happy when you approached me with that. I'm like, this is perfect because at the time I think I was getting a lot more followers. It was newer to me. Like I was like, oh, a lot of people are actually curious about my opinions. So when you offered this, I was like, well, perfect. I can talk hockey and have a female perspective in the hockey world, which is awesome because both of us are females as far as I'm
Oh
concerned.
my god. Yeah. You can have female horses.
Yeah. So yeah. I thought it was
I think too, I
fun.
remember you at around that time discussing too your desire to maybe do like hockey discussions on YouTube or something.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I talked to Molly about this actually. I think that's how
Yeah.
she thought, you know what? I'll ask
It
now.
was because it's when your hockey coming out.
Yeah.
You remember at work? And you're
Oh
like,
my
shh,
gosh. Shut
I
up.
need to know
That is
about the leaves.
I kept it in all these years and then I just got in love. I fell in love with the Leafs even harder because of Frederick Anderson, my true favorite hockey player. And work, unfortunately, got most of my obsession. Like they had to listen to me talk about the Leafs every single time I was there.
I think it's I was like, oh, I really want to go to a hockey game, and you're just like, hockey.
Yes, yes. That was awesome. That was a good time because, Molly and I were fine with each other. We didn't have any qualms. But I think when we started talking about hockey, that's when we really started getting closer.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, work was weird, so
Yeah, work was weird.
hockey was not.
No, that was my escape at work. No, no,
Yeah.
luckily I can't get fired now, but honestly, most of my shifts, especially if they were late shifts, I would honestly just live stream the whatever game was on.
Oh my god, same. Everyone else was
Oopsie.
like watching football and stuff, so
It's true. Let us do it, whatever.
yeah, us goalie girls.
Yeah.
From
Like,
your
sorry, we're
perspective,
just gonna
Molly,
plan vacay.
I'm just curious when it comes to Europe, like obviously like you said, like the hockey fandom is very different over there. In some of the countries that you've been in, would you say that hockey fans over there follow more the European leagues or the NHL?
Mm.
Yeah, excellent question. So, at my university I went to, in my third year, they had like an ice hockey watching club or whatever.
Oh,
But
I love it.
it was for British hockey. Like I went to one of them like, Abs jersey, like ready to be like, yeah, NHL. But they were like, oh no, we support like Cardiff Devils, and I'm just there like, wrong country. So I think there's like little groups and pockets that support like British hockey and then obviously the KHL and then like the different
Yeah,
leagues. But I live in rural areas, so it's not really a go sports kind
fair
of
enough.
Yeah.
So I
area
guess it
in
depends
general.
where you live,
That
essentially,
is a
right?
tough question.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
there's tons of leagues in Europe. And I
there's
Oh
mean,
so
yeah.
many.
technically, I guess we kind of have a similar phenomenon here in North America where although the NHL is the top dog clearly, depending on where you live, you will see people who follow smaller leagues because they have a team around their area. Like people will follow obviously some CHL leagues like OHL, QMJHL, WHL, all that stuff because they are the junior players who might eventually go to the NHL, but they also just have teams locally, right? Like if you might a lot of cities in Canada don't have an NHL team, but will have some sort of junior team,
Mhm.
Yeah,
right, in their city, and like those often get a lot of support locally, and then that maybe gets the person invested in that junior league in general.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
that does make more sense. Like, I think it's just geographical base
Mhm.
Oh, for
more than
sure.
anything. But my personal experience is I've know a lot of international people, so it's always been NHL.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've got a little bit of a fun question for you guys.
Oh my goodness.
By the way, I do want to make a point here that the first questions that we just answered was from
But I will say for the record, I've technically been around from the beginning of the podcast if you count the fact that I was, you know, brainstorming with you and just being like a sounding board for your ideas and discussions, right?
well,
In the
that's
early
true.
stages.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because like I almost felt like a just a fan with more influence, right? It'd be like, oh, what about this or what about that? And you would toss me ideas and be like, oh yeah, I like that idea. Cool. I'm excited to listen to the next episode. And then I would just always listen to the podcasts that you guys would record, and then afterwards I'd be like, oh, this was fun. I like this, and like I love when you guys talk about that or whatnot.
Number
Hmm.
one fan.
Yeah, he liked all of our videos, right, Jess?
Oh yes, of course, of course.
First one to like them.
So now
Oh
it's
yeah.
just fun to instead of being able to be like, hey Chanel, how about you talk about this? And then I'll just come on and be like, hey, let's talk about this.
Hmm. Yep.
Now you're just kind of like, let me just stop you there.
You got more sway. Oh, that's why I wanted to get into the podcast. Hmm.
Gasp.
Jesus. VJK Dean, thank you for submitting those questions for us, as well as Rescue Panda. And that was the last question about what made you start the podcast. That was Rescue Panda. And our next question is also from him, which is, if you were to play hockey, what position would you play and why? What? When I was younger, what on earth?
J'étais petit.
What the hell? Anyways, when I was younger, I was a huge sports fanatic in terms of actually playing sports. I was very athletic, very tomboy, and unfortunately, I did have an injury when I was in grade, I don't know, 6 or 7, that ruined me basically for life still today. And so I never got my chance to actually play hockey, but I'm telling you right now that if my family had the money and if I wasn't injured, I would be in hockey. I dreamt, daydreamed even during school about being a hockey player, specifically a goalie, which is why I'm a goalie girl. I was so obsessed with Manon when she played in like an actual game in the NHL as a goalie. That was so cool to me, and I thought, wow, that's it. It's me. I'm gonna be the next NHL player. I'm gonna be the female NHL player, but permanent. Let's go. It's funny. I was so silly. That would never
No,
happen.
I love that. I love that so much.
I really did dream about being a professional NHL goalie in the league. So it was really fun to think like that. Although I will say I'm pretty good at hockey in general as well. Jessie can attest for this. Maybe Molly too, depending if she watched me play beer pong. But I have really good hand-eye
I
coordination.
played with you.
That's true. That's true.
You're so competitive. Oh my god.
Listen,
yeah.
I am a sports girl. It doesn't matter if it's beer pong. I need to win. Okay, this got a little dark. But anyways, there you go. It would be a goalie, and that's why. That is why.
I love that. That's so good. Jesse, how about you?
Well, I might as well follow up, right? Because me too, it's goalie.
Ah,
Um,
He's a goalie
because
girl.
he's a
yes, I'm a
goalie
goalie girl.
girl.
Exactly. Yeah, because me, growing up, since I got into hockey a little bit later, but also, I was probably the opposite of you. I was not very athletic. I definitely did some stuff at school and sports and whatnot, but like never to a crazy degree. It was more one of those things where like, you do stuff during gym class. You maybe do a few sports in between here and there, but nothing too serious, right? Like I was never joining hockey at like a professional level. There were like those kids that train up from the beginning to become like, superstar players. Like my parents would have probably never bothered putting the money in for that anyways. It would hockey's expensive growing up. But my one big issue is that I'm an awful skater, like awful skater. I
He's so bad. He's
I
so
hate
bad.
skating. I'm frustrated with it. I always struggle to learn it. So skating's just not my thing, unfortunately.
But you
But
are tall.
well, cool. I got that going for me. It's still not gonna help me skate. So, but I really did enjoy playing street hockey as a kid. I had some neighbor friends who really liked hockey as well, also Leafs fans, and we would always play street hockey together. And at a certain point, I just ended up getting in the net a lot and really enjoying it. I was always like, I not like that I had really much technique or anything, right? It's not like I had training, it was just all casual and for fun. But I was really good at just throwing myself in front of the puck no matter what. Like I wasn't afraid of getting myself hurt or scraped or whatever.
Mm.
So that's what I really enjoyed about being a goaltender. And eventually, my parents did get me like goalie pads and stuff just for like street hockey purposes. So that's pretty fun.
Aw,
Cute.
I
And I
love
think
it.
the one time that I played on ice with friends, again, I played goaltender because, like I said, I literally suck at skating. So it was a lot easier for me to just be in the like I was literally in the net with no skates on. I was playing goaltender with
Oh my
shoes
god.
on, just in the net. I was like, don't stray too far.
No, guys, when he says he's bad at skating, he means it. He's not exaggerating. It's
Oh
okay. We'll
goodness.
teach you.
I can
But
teach
yeah,
you.
I like the
Yeah.
goalie position. It's fun.
Yeah. That makes more sense the way you explained that. What about you, Molly?
I'm just gonna switch it up here. I wouldn't be a goalie. Um, you know what I'm gonna say.
Say it. Say it, I dare you.
The position I want to play is blonde-haired girlfriend of hockey player.
uh,
Oh my
I will
god.
be the controversial one, and I will be the first brunette one. Let's
I
go.
see.
Oh,
So were your
curveball.
dreams dashed just because you didn't have the right hair color, and you're like, man, I'll never get to be a hockey wife?
Yeah.
No, because there's something called hair dye.
I was gonna say, if you really look
Uh,
at these females, these beautiful, gorgeous, lovely, amazing females, by the way,
They are
they
amazing, yeah.
they're great. They have, however, they all have a hair dye. Most of them aren't natural blondes, so it's hilarious. But that's just
Yeah.
an observation.
yeah, it's become a meme
I'm
at this
not
point,
slaying
right?
on them at all. Like,
No, no, no.
honestly, they're such supportive people, and they
They
always seem
are.
to be so nice. And it's just like, oh, I
That's what I'm
can't
saying.
hate you.
It's a joke, like it's a joke in the league because it's actually true. It's the fault is with the men, not with the women. Okay, let's
Yeah.
just be
It's not the
real.
color of the hair on your head that matters, it's the color of the hair on your heart.
Fight him.
What? That's the color of the hair on
Hair
your
on your-
heart.
I'm dying.
Anyways,
We're all pretty blondes on the inside.
we are.
Do you want a serious position though?
Oh, sure, I
Yeah.
guess if you want.
Well, tell us.
I'd probably be a winger.
Yeah?
Left.
Oh, a left winger.
Yeah. She's left arm dominant. And I think I could slap a pretty shot, you know?
Yeah, out of
nice.
curiosity, so you're saying left-hand shot?
Yeah.
It's Chanel?
I'm a switch hitter. I don't know.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I do lefty as well. Yeah.
Ooh. Well,
I'm
I used
special.
to play left midfield in football. Ew. Sorry,
Oh.
soccer.
Soccer.
Soccer. Did why I said it like that?
Why did you have to say it Americanized?
Here's a weird one. If I play hockey, I play left, but like I don't really play golf, but I've swung a club with some friends, just casually from time to time, and I always play right.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways,
What?
yes.
I don't play golf. I just swing a club from time
No,
to
because I was
time.
gonna say I
Hmm.
was gonna say I'm a righty when I play golf, but saying I play golf seems like it's really stretching the truth.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
It's like
Oh, you
those few
dabble.
times
Sorry.
that I've shot golf balls around with people just for whatever, spend just chilling them.
It just doesn't sound right.
No, you're just elongating the definition of golf.
You never
Yeah.
shoot balls with your friends and swing clubs together,
No.
No.
Actually, how about we just move on?
Should we just move on and just Yeah,
It's-
hi Chanel.
Hi. Yeah, and actually it's kind of it's a question kind of attached to the last one anyways. What number would you wear and why? I already know mine, so I'm just going to say it right now.
Yeah, go for it.
Number
it.
11, even though goalies can't be 11.
Well, I guess they can, right? I mean, is it a written rule that you can, or is it just like one of those traditions that
It's
people
like
keep up?
I think it's a tradition. I don't think it's a written rule per se. If I had my choice, I'd start a riot if they said no, you can't be a goalie with the number 11. I'd be like, yeah, I fucking can.
He can. I like
It's-
unless it's a retired number.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, if it's
exactly.
not
Or
that.
if someone else has it. Like, obviously, I couldn't play as a Leafs goaltender a few years back when Hyman was in the league because, with the Leafs, I mean. His number was 11, but it's just my lucky number. I don't know. It's been like that since 2000 something. I've loved that number. I have an affinity for it.
That's a good number.
Yeah, it's a nice number, right? It's clean, it's slick.
Yeah.
What about you?
I have a number, but it's really lame and uncreative.
Okay.
It's 1.
I knew you were going to say 1.
To be fair, goalies do wear 1 pretty frequently, so it definitely fits. But I think I remember as a kid, like, sometimes kids, when you do, like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite animal? And I think it was like, what's your favorite number? Or what's your lucky number, right? Like you say 11, you consider your lucky number or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I remember having those discussions being like, I don't know, man. It's so, like, mundane and bizarre. Like, why does a number mean anything to you, right? Like, there was nothing that meant anything to me. So it was just really boring. I said 1, whatever. 1's my number. And then I just stuck to it.
Okay, so Jesse is a contrarian because, yes, his number is 1. His favorite color is black.
Well, that's not contrarian. That's more just being boring.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Well,
If I was a contrarian, I'd say my favorite number is 2,576.85.
oh my.
Like some sort of
Contrarian.
asshole.
You would be like a number or integer.
Exactly. That's more like
Does it have to be a real number, or can it be an imaginary number? My favorite
My
number is
favorite number's
Euler's constant.
E.
Yeah, my favorite number is Euler's constant.
Get out.
Avogadro's number. My favorite number is Avogadro's number.
Fibonacci sequence is my favorite number.
Put that on the back of a jersey.
1 1. 11.
Yeah, no, it's binary, dipshit. It's 2 or whatever. What is it again? Is it?
What do you mean? You're literally a hockey genius. I mean, a math genius.
No, that's not true.
That's true.
No, my number would be 64 just because I like it. There you go.
Yeah, no, 1 1 is 3. Yeah.
All right, Jesse. All right.
Yeah.
No more
I have
math.
no reason. I'm sorry. Should we get off the number topic before Jesse has a
Well, you
facial
didn't tell us your
hernia?
number.
I just did.
Oh,
Yeah, she just did. You were busy thinking about the freaking binary sequence, or
I thought you were talking about the Fibonacci sequence as a joke.
oh yes, the Fibonacci.
64.
64.
Oh, sorry,
She said.
sorry.
Because, and she said
Dying.
because
Just because. I don't have to
because of-
explain myself.
No.
Fair enough.
Actually, I have a last question from someone. Let me just refresh our page. I just want to make sure we're not missing any other questions here. No, we are good. So, our last question from a follower is from RSGTX91. Thank you for your question. And the question is, how can I convince people to watch hockey, especially if they watch other sports like basketball, football, etc.? Now, that's a really good question, guys.
Really good. I like it.
Yeah.
I almost feel like I don't know what my perspective would be here, because I am like the type of person who only watches hockey and is basically not into any other sport at all.
That's me too. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really watch too many other sports. Like Molly, you said you seem to already be into football and a few other things beforehand, so maybe you have a bit more experience in like what attracts you from going to one sport to the next.
Well, seeing as I'm technically a sports photographer as well, like
Yes.
I have insight on various sports, shall we say. So,
Ooh, all right. Tell us.
looking for a sport to watch and you want to have violence that's not penalized too much.
True.
Do you want sharp objects? Do you want fast play? Do you want blood? Fights? Good hair? Questionable moustaches? And do you also want to have an emotional breakdown every other week? Then I suggest hockey.
Oh yeah, if you like yelling at your television, hockey's for you.
Yeah. It's a sport you can get into. I wouldn't say fast, but you can get into it for sure. Because I've had so many people, like my friends, being like, "Oh, I'm gonna start watching the NHL. What team do you suggest?" I'm like,
You
it's
pick.
up to you. You
Yeah.
pick. And they're like, "What do you mean I pick?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not your sports advisor. I'm not your sports therapist."
I mean, maybe for somebody who's new, they should we should make them avoid the teams that are really boring to watch right now.
Yeah,
Like
that's
teams
what I
that are really
basically
rough, really
do.
boring. Yeah, so like start out with teams that are like currently very exciting to watch. They don't necessarily have to be the best ones. They can just
Wait,
be exciting ones.
I know how to convince them. Make them watch a Battle of Alberta.
Ooh.
Yes.
Calgary Edmonton tilts are pretty
Mm.
intense.
Mm-hmm.
They can
You
watch
get the
playoff
violence
games.
and the high scoring.
They're
Love
high school.
that.
Exactly. That's a great idea.
Ah,
See, that's how
Yeah.
you convince people to watch hockey. You just say,
mhm.
all right, I dare you to watch one game, but it's got to be these two, and then tell me that you don't like
Yeah.
hockey.
I think actually Edmonton is low key a good choice because you do get a lot of scoring. You know, you can show off, I guess, Connor McDavid and being the best player in the league, whatever.
That's true.
But they're also questionable defensively and in net, so they score just as much as they get scored on. So you're gonna get usually like a high event game, right? And as a sort of like new a kind of objective observer, a third party coming into the game, like you don't necessarily have a rooting interest for anybody yet, so you might as well just watch a game where stuff's gonna happen. Like I feel like a 1-0 tightly played game at first is kind of maybe only appealing if you're watching your team and you watch them win the 1-0 game and you're like, wow, they played some really tight defense, good job guys. But
Yeah,
like
true.
for a new person, you want to probably bring them in with like goals, action, violence, right? Stuff like that.
Not to mention that this sport is actually still kind of growing, right? Compared to the other sports, still trying to reach different audiences. So you can let them know that you don't have to be a bandwagoner. Jump on right now before the bandwagon happens, and then you'll
Yeah.
be considered cool in the future.
Yeah, you're like, I was
True.
a fan of this team before they were cool.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, I've just thought something.
Yeah.
NHL's for the pick me girls.
Oh my God.
There you
Pick
go.
me, but
You
also.
don't want to watch the NFL? I'm built different.
I guess the other thing too is if you're really upset, if you become obsessed with hockey, there's a lot of it to watch.
That's true.
Yes.
So there is,
There's
but
a lot.
not to like a crazy degree like baseball. Baseball has way too many games. But then football, you get the opposite, where you get like the was it the NFL? You barely get any games a season, right? It's very
Yeah.
Ugh,
very little.
NFL's yawn. You want to watch college football?
I mean, I just don't watch football.
They actually play and don't just stop. Ugh.
Oh.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what? I think that's one thing that helps hockey stand out is how high action, fast paced.
True.
You know what I mean? Even when
Yeah.
the game is a little bit slower, it's still kind of fast because people are still skating back and forth all around. The puck's always moving. You really have to be attentive to what's going on.
And the commentary's better. I don't know. I absolutely love hockey commentary. Like some people are just
My
really
gosh, yeah.
funny.
I know. I made the I think this is perfect. I remember one time where they basically said Mitchell Marner is weaving through the team as if he's knitting a freaking blanket for grandma. I don't remember. It was something wild. Like it's too much. The peanut butter cup he puts it right on the cabinet door. I don't know.
Oh my god.
It's just so random.
I'll say like it's maybe not like the same level of crazy enthusiasm in the voice like you get with maybe some like I'm to say football soccer announcers. You know what I mean?
Oh my god.
Like I know
they're
that has a
Go, 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 go.
exactly.
dramatic.
But it's pretty fun. Yeah, I think maybe you know what? I think maybe that's the one reason we got into hockey, considering that we're not very big on watching sports, is that it's easy to get into as a casual in the sense that there's just so much going on. There,
It's fun.
and although the rules can be annoyingly complicated, especially when we start arguing about what's a penalty, what's an infraction, what should be suspended, blah blah blah, the offsides, which is annoying. It's its own thing that maybe makes hockey impenetrable for some people, but just like at the essence of it, you're just really watching guys skate back and forth, hitting each other, and then shooting the puck with the stick.
When you put it like that.
Well, no, but it's like true. It is very simple, right? They're like, he's got the puck on his stick, he's trying to shoot at the other end. They've got the puck on the stick, trying to shoot at the other end. They're passing the puck to their teammates. They're hitting each other in between. Sure, you'll get a whistle here to be like, oh, this guy committed a penalty, and they're like, what was the penalty? Tripping. You're like, okay, cool, tripping. I get the essence of that. Or like, offside might be a little bit weird to explain, but other sports have similar sort of like
Yeah.
line, crossing infractions or whatever. And the periods are pretty straightforward too. It's just 3 periods of 20 minutes. Like you don't have any complications.
Saying I think it's an overall top-notch sport, and it's really intriguing because there are so many fun layers. It's like we're watching boxing figure skating. I don't know what the baseball sometimes, soccer sometimes. I
Yeah.
mean, it's very fun. And
Like,
then you even get
imagine
fans beating each other up in the stands. So.
soccer with sticks, but then there's also a boxing mini game in there somewhere sometimes.
It's
I
great.
like it.
Yeah,
It's got something for all the family.
exactly. That's how you. Anyways, I hope that answered your question, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
There's just too much to love.
Yeah, chaos happens a lot too, right?
Yeah.
Hockey can get pretty chaotic, especially in the last few years. I think that helped. The scoring went up, so you see a lot more comebacks. You see a lot more wild scores in games. I think it makes it a lot more exciting.
I think getting into hockey is good as well. Like, you know, when we went to go see Sen's game and you were wearing a Leafs jersey, I was wearing an Avs jersey, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, I love that player."
Yes.
People were
Yes.
so nice. Maybe it's a
I think
Canada
so.
thing, but it was just really good.
I don't know if you would have went in there with like maybe like a Montreal jersey or Toronto jersey. Who knows? Maybe it would have been a more hostile.
No, no one
Well,
was mean to me. No one was mean to
no
me.
one was
That's because
mean
it's
at
the Ottawa
all.
arena, right?
Yeah, there's
Probably.
like no one there.
Maybe. Because to be fair, if you go watch a Leafs game in Ottawa, it's mostly Leafs fans, and I'm not sure
True.
about Montreal, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same thing. Because Ottawa's kind of in the middle there, where you get a lot of Leafs fans and a lot of Montreal fans,
That's true. That is true.
right? And like, relatively speaking, Ottawa is a newer team.
Well, actually, to be fair, I'm terrified, Molly, to go out in my Leafs jersey where I am. I remember like just walking in my Leafs sweater, and a girl walked past me and like she like went, "Ugh, gross." And then her fiance, boyfriend, or husband, whatever, was like, don't mind her. She's just bitter her team lost against you. And I was like, okay. And she was like really mad at him. She was serious.
Yeah, well, some
Cool.
sports fans take it too far, no matter what. They're
Yeah.
I've
like,
not
let's say,
actually
for
met
example,
another Avalanche fan in the wild.
Oh my
Actually, no, I
gosh.
have. I've met one Avalanche fan in the wild,
Oh.
and it was. This is gonna sound fucking wild.
What is it?
I was on a night out in Wales
Okay.
during
In
university.
Wales. Oh
Yeah.
my, okay.
And I think it was a sports theme night with one of the sports teams I was part of, and it was like wear your team colours or whatever for any sport. So I was wearing my Avalanche jersey, and I think it was like 3 a.m. in the morning, and like we were getting pizza or I don't know what, garlic potatoes or some shit. And I was in like the store shop thing, and like I heard this screaming across the street, and everyone looked round and looked out the window, and there was a guy in an Avs jersey who was like fucking pelting it towards the shop, just going, "Avalanche!" I was just kind of like, yeah. Ooh.
Hey, that's
It
a
was-
solid fan.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
bud.
And then I kept seeing him around campus, and I was just kind of like, "What's up, mate?"
Just
And he'd
point
be like,
at him every time.
"Miss Avalanche!" And I was just like, "Hi."
I love that.
I don't know what to do with this. I didn't get his name or anything because I was just too
Oh, that's funny.
scared.
I guess he's Mr. Avalanche.
Yeah, so if you were in Wales and you want a night out and scared a whole shop of people trying to get potatoes in an Avalanche jersey, who are you?
Who are you?
That's so
I hope
funny.
we don't meet again.
I love that. I think that concludes our Q&A, yeah?
Oh, definitely.
We'll definitely do this again, maybe halfway through the year or at the end of the year. We'll pick different questions and
How are you really doing? That'll be a good one.
how are you really?
It's like crying into my ice cream. Avalanche keep losing.
It's just a therapy session. That will be the title, therapy session.
Look,
Yeah.
you can
NHL
wipe your
edition.
tears with the cup for quite a few years. It
That's
takes a
true.
while. It takes a
That's
while
true.
before that runs out.
Eh,
I would
wouldn't know.
die to have a fucking cup.
Right? Like for example, like right now, I'd say at this point in time, like Tampa Bay fans probably don't have anything to complain about for a while, no matter how bad it gets. You've gotten your 2 cups now. It's 3 cup finals in a row too. Like that'll sustain you for a while. It's gonna be a bit before the team can start, like fans can start being like, okay, we haven't
Yeah.
won in a long time. It's starting to get sad.
Kind of like Pittsburgh is just kind of slowly fading out now.
Yeah, but even then, it's still recent enough, and you know that like people.
Blackhawks.
Yeah, exactly.
they
Yeah,
have
true.
multiple in a certain like in their fan base will have seen multiple in their lifetime. That's a treat
That's true.
because sometimes you'll see 0 in your lifetime.
Beautiful. That's me.
God, that was really. Yeah, you are a you are a depressing Leafs fan.
Look, I'm
Some
just
people just don't see any in their lifetime. Okay.
what's you gotta appreciate what you have because when it's gone, you'll realize that
You never know. This may be
Yeah.
the year. I've got a
Grumble,
feeling
grumble.
about it. Like
Sure.
the Kings are up and coming. The Leafs are gonna win the cup.
Well, we gotta win
Uh,
something. As long this is how sad it is for the Leafs fans. For Leafs fans, it's probably like, oh, they made it past the first round. Oh my god, tears! I'm so happy. That's all it takes. That's all it takes, folks. All right. Well, I think that concludes our episode today. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. Please like, comment, subscribe, share if you can. Join our little hockey community. We have a lot of awesome videos planned for 2023. Stay tuned. Follow us on Twitter at this hockey pod or find us individually at it's just underscore Molly and at Chanel LV. And we hope to see you back here for the next one. Bye.
Bye.